Welcome back to the channel. We're smoking on my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty greats, overachieving, never slacking. And today we got Joe Rogan chilling LA wildfire prediction resurfaces. So this is my first time seeing this, even though I tend to watch Joe Rogan every now and then. I pay attention to the clips. But I don't remember him saying anything about, like, predicting the LA wildfires, which, to everybody out there who is, losing their homes. And, I'm on threads on Instagram and Twitter, and I just see people really losing their homes and going through it. So my condolences to you guys for sure. And, man, keep your heads up. I know that's rough to hear right now, but when tragedy occurs, you have no choice but to keep your head up. But with that being said, we're going to dive into this. Original link in the description, and let's see Joe Rogan's prediction.
One day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind, and fire's going to start in the right place, and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean, and there's not a fucking thing we can do about it. I felt like it could fall apart at any moment. It was always like, I was always waiting for the next earthquake or the next fire. I was evacuated 3 times from my house from fires. Yeah. Last one, 2 houses in front of my house burnt to the ground. Right in front of my house.
What the f?
Yeah, the wildfires were crazy.
Yeah, it's scary, right?
Scary. When you see them coming, I came home from the Comedy Store, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and me and my wife were looking out the window at the fire coming over the hill. And we made an early call. We said, look, if we're wrong, we come back, the house is still here, but let's just get the out of here now. I'm like, that's too close. They weren't evacuating yet. I'm like, let's get out of here. And so we got all of our shit, and we got a hotel in Beverly Hills. And then next thing you know, it swept through our neighborhood.
That's horrible.
It burnt 40 houses in my neighborhood.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, it was crazy.
So Joe Rogan was warned. He was warned. He was given all the signs, and he acted accordingly, as a man is supposed to, right? When it comes to protecting his family, protecting himself, you're supposed to pay attention. You're supposed to see the signs. You're supposed to use that logic and act accordingly. And that's what Joe Rogan did. So with this going viral, as if Joe Rogan chilling LA wildfire prediction resurfaces, I think it should really be more of a message of pay attention to the signs, right? When you see danger ahead, even if people think you're crazy, but you see it, you hear it, you act accordingly. You follow your intuition and you use your logic, and I think that's the important message here.
It was weird, man. And when you see the walls of flame that are from the left to the right, everywhere you can see is flames. You see houses going up. It's spooky, man. It's spooky like a horror movie. I talked to a fireman once, and he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind, and fire's going to start in the right place, and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean, and there's not a thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes,
okay, so someone told him this. So it's like, once again, he paid attention. He listened. People say a lot of different things, but a lot of people don't listen. Like, you ever be somewhere, right? And someone that's usually caught up in, let's say, their job or in the corporate world, and you have a brief conversation, and the conversation's outside of, let's say, the norm, outside of who won the football game today or whatever, and you might mention something, and they kind of give you that stare, like, oh yeah, and then they go right back into that, so it's like, people tend to be surrounded by these type of people a lot. It's called the Matrix. So when you do come across people who may have inside information or certain knowledge, and they're telling you, hey, this is the I worked over here. I actually was speaking to a military guy who was telling me, like, man, the stuff that he started saying, man, there's certain stuff that and I listen to stuff like that. And I feel like there's a lot of people that just don't take things serious, and they just don't care. They're just kind of like, oh, all right, like, this some conspiracy dude, whatever. Okay, going on about my day. Let me go to Starbucks and pick up my coffee. Who cares? Like, I'm not saying you got to obsess over that, but I do think it's important, as humans, that we pay attention just a little bit, just a little bit, other than the corporations and all the stuff that's just constantly, what Beyonce, is eating for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do think there's other important things, and not everybody's just crazy or some just conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, we just get lucky. He goes, we get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA, and there's not going to be a thing we can do about it. Because these fires are so big, dude. When they're talking about like thousands of acres that are burning simultaneously with like 40-mile-an-hour winds. And the wind's just blowing embers through the air, and those embers are landing on roofs, and those
Now, I have to stop it here and say, I'm gonna let him finish, but there's something he said I'm gonna go back to.
houses are going up, and they're landing on bushes, and those bushes are going up, and everything's dry. And once it happens in a way where it's so spread out that there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
You just have to evacuate, right?
Nothing.
Now, there's something I have to say because it's relevant to a post I made on my community tab. Joe Rogan said, it's like, what did he say? We're just getting lucky. Let me see.
And it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean, and there's not a thing we can do about it. I go, really? He goes, yeah, we just get lucky. He goes,
he said, we just get lucky.
We get lucky with the wind. He goes, but if the wind hits the wrong way, it's just going to burn straight through LA.
So this guy told him, we just get lucky with the wind, right? That's when I have to get a little spiritual with it and say, like I did on my community tab, and say, listen, maybe things are meant to happen at a certain time. Maybe things are meant to happen at a certain time. I made on my community tab, and I was talking about how, lately I just been feeling my ancestors a lot, and I was talking about how there's certain, put it like this, certain times on a planet, or certain spiritual occurrences where it may be a lot of angry spirits that were wronged, and they speak through natural disasters and certain and just certain times things are supposed to happen. Now, obviously, I just seen someone commented like, oh, you're full of shit. My response was, you definitely weren't, my guess is you weren't the brightest kid on the block to just not provide me with an actual, just, respectable, or even just intellect. It don't even got to be that deep of a response. Just the fact that you would automatically respond with ignorance. I mean, even when it doesn't matter which ancient tradition you going to in the world, everybody had their, that's what they thought. I don't care if you bring up the Vikings. I don't care if you bring up, like, even within Abrahamic religions. Oh, when God's pissed, what happened? Like some type of natural disaster. So for me to sit here and say, there was so many people that was wronged, and so everybody has their turn, right? There were wars in empires, great empires, before Columbus's great grandparents were born. So it's a lot that happened. It's a lot that still needs answers. The planet's shifting. It's so much going on. So for me to even throw that out there, and not to say I got it all figured out, but to just throw a different type of perspective, it's crazy when you see someone respond with ignorance because people are triggered. They're always thinking like, they're programmed by the matrix. They're always thinking, they're identifying with something they don't need to identify with. Like, if you ever seen The Fall of the House of Usher, um, that's a good one to watch when you see things just start crumbling for these people that became billionaires off of taking advantage of people. A lot of people, when I speak on my ancestors, they automatically start thinking of it from a black versus white perspective. All these labels, all these man-made labels, and they start feeling triggered, and oh, he's playing victim, all these things that were programmed in you to keep us divided, and you're identifying with something you probably shouldn't even be identifying with, because you probably may not even have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But that's how divided and how programmed we are as a people. It's crazy. So to that person that commented that, you're not nice. That wasn't nice. That ugly nature. That's something that people really need to work on as humans. We can't come together when people are just so ignorant like that. When people can't. What they say. There's the geniuses. There was like a line of like madness with them, right? So in order for somebody to even come up with an idea or to come up with a solution, there was a lot of craziness that was shot out, of ideas to come up with that one idea. There's a method to the madness. So imagine if you just stop that person. You're full of shh while they're cooking. Let people cook. They may be on to something, right? They may be on to something, but ignorance is woo. Listen, y'all. Being a YouTuber, you see a lot of ignorance. People attack you in ways you can't imagine. It's just like this fire out of nowhere. But with that being said, original link in the description. And if you enjoyed this video, definitely don't hesitate to hit that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. And I'll be back with more soon. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I've been hearing different conspiracies. Hey, hey, we got brains, right? It's everything. But with that being said, much love, y'all.